We often believe that love means holding on tightly, controlling outcomes, or sacrificing ourselves for someone else's presence. But what if true love is the opposite? What if strength lies not in holding but in letting go? In this video, you'll discover how the Stoics approach love, not as possession, but as freedom. You'll learn how to offer love without attachment, cultivate peace within yourself, and stop losing your identity in the pursuit of someone else. These timeless teachings will guide you through emotional storms, help you respond with clarity, and teach you how to love without fear. Stay with us as we explore how to reclaim your power, master your emotions, and build unshakable resilience in your relationships. This isn't just about romance, it's about emotional freedom. Let's begin. Love without attachment or dependence. Have you ever felt as if your heart gave more than it received? You loved sincerely, yet found yourself entangled in fear, anxiety, and uncertainty. The fear of losing someone often grows stronger the more tightly we try to hold on. When love becomes a condition rather than a gift, it breeds expectation. And when those expectations are unmet, suffering begins. True love, the kind that brings freedom instead of chains, starts with detachment. Not coldness, but clarity. Like a bird perching on a branch, it does not depend on the branch for its safety. It trusts its wings. That is how we must love, freely without needing to possess. If they stay, we are grateful. If they leave, we are at peace. When you stop seeking to control what you cannot hold, your heart softens. You begin to understand that love is not something to conquer, but something to cultivate within. You realize that your worth does not rise or fall based on someone else's presence. In that moment, fear dissolves. What remains is calm. This is not weakness, it is strength. The strength to love someone fully while remaining whole within yourself. The ability to offer love without losing your peace. This is the art of emotional mastery. And through it, you find freedom. Not freedom from love, but freedom within love. The kind of freedom that allows you to love deeply without fear, without pressure, without losing yourself. That is what it means to love without attachment or dependence. It is the foundation of inner peace, the root of clarity, and the path toward unshakable resilience. Only control yourself, not others. We often fall into the illusion that love means changing or saving someone. We think if we love hard enough, they will understand. If we give more, they will stay. But the truth is simple and often painful. You cannot control anyone but yourself. Their choices, feelings, and actions are outside your power. The more you try to shape someone into who you want them to be, the more you lose yourself. This is not love. It is control dressed in devotion. Real love honors free will. It does not cling. It does not mold. It accepts what is and lets go of what is not yours to carry. Imagine holding onto a rope that is burning your hands. The tighter you grip, the deeper the wound. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing peace over pain. Stoic wisdom teaches that your responsibility begins and ends with your own thoughts and actions. That is your sphere of power. When someone disrespects you, you cannot force them to change, but you can choose to walk away. When someone is distant, you cannot pull them closer, but you can return to your own center. There is freedom in this, the freedom of no longer trying to manage what you never had control over. When you turn inward, you reclaim your strength. You stop waiting for someone to validate your worth. You stop reacting to their chaos. You begin to respond from a place of clarity. This is how you protect your peace. This is how you regain power. Not by changing others, but by changing how you respond to them. In doing so, you become unshakable, calm in the storm, steady in the uncertainty. You are no longer a prisoner of someone else's choices. You become the master of your own. Be resilient through emotional storms. Love is not always gentle. It can shake you, break you, test you. There will be moments when words cut deeper than silence, and when distance feels louder than anything spoken. But these moments are not the end. They are the storm, and storms as fierce as they may be always pass. Resilience does not mean being unaffected. It means being able to bend without breaking. Like a tree in the wind, you may sway, but your roots keep you grounded. The Stoics believe that adversity reveals the truth of our character. What you endure does not weaken you. It shapes you. It strengthens your emotional core. In love, resilience means showing up even when it hurts. It means holding space for healing instead of running from discomfort. It means learning to breathe through the chaos and choosing to respond with courage, not fear. Emotional storms will come, but if you build your inner shelter before they arrive, you will not be destroyed. When your peace does not depend on external calm, you become powerful. You do not collapse when someone disappoints you. You do not dissolve when things fall apart. You feel the pain, but you stay present. You feel the fear, but you stand tall. Resiliency is not about never feeling broken. It is about knowing how to return to wholeness. It is not about avoiding pain. It is about growing through it. Every wound becomes wisdom when you stay open long enough to understand its lesson. In love, that wisdom becomes compassion. It becomes patience. It becomes the quiet strength that holds the relationship together when words fail and when certainty disappears. Resilience is what carries you through, not to survive love, but to deepen it. Prioritize virtue over fleeting pleasure. In love, it is easy to chase what feels good in the moment. A sweet word, a rush of affection, a perfect evening. But pleasure fades, the high disappears. And what remains? Sometimes emptiness, sometimes regret. Stoicism reminds us that the foundation of a meaningful life and meaningful love is virtue, not momentary satisfaction, but the steady presence of values like honesty, patience, courage, and kindness. Love built on pleasure alone cannot endure. It crumbles when tested, but love rooted in virtue becomes resilient. It becomes lasting. Think of a sculptor working with stone. He does not strike recklessly for quick results. He carves with care, aware that each stroke shapes the final form. In relationships, your actions are your tools. If guided by impulse, they may damage what you're trying to build. But if guided by character, they will shape something beautiful. Virtue means choosing respect over dominance, listening over reacting, truth over comfort. It means showing up even when it is hard, staying kind even when you feel hurt, speaking honestly even when silence is easier. The pleasure of the moment can feel intoxicating, but it often hides deeper pain. Virtue, on the other hand, may be harder to practice, but it leaves you whole. When you choose virtue, you create a relationship that grows deeper with time, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. You create space for healing, growth, and trust. You learn to love not just with emotion, but with intention. And through that love, it becomes something greater. Not just a feeling, but a reflection of your best self. That is the kind of love that lasts. Change your perspective. Change how you love. What if the way you see things is shaping your suffering more than the events themselves? In love, perspective is everything. One person's silence might feel like rejection to you, while to another it may simply be space to breathe. The meaning you attach to someone's actions determines your emotional response. Stoicism teaches that we suffer not from what happens, but from how we interpret what happens. This applies deeply to relationships. When you assume the worst, you create anxiety. When you interpret distance as abandonment, you feed fear. But when you choose to see things through the lens of understanding, everything shifts. Maybe they are quiet because they are overwhelmed, not because they stop caring. Maybe their mood is not a reflection of your worth. When you pause and question your story, you create space between reaction and response. That space is power. In that space, you can choose to stay calm instead of getting defensive. You can choose compassion over blame. The mind is a storyteller, and often an unreliable one. If you let it run wild, it will fill in gaps with fear and assumption. But if you train it, if you become aware of the lens through which you see others, you reclaim control. Love becomes lighter when you stop assigning negative meanings to every little action. Clarity comes when you step back from your emotions and observe without judgment. Your peace depends on what you focus on. Change your perspective and you begin to change how you experience love itself. Be patient and let love bloom in its own time. Love does not unfold on demand. It grows in silence through moments of doubt and in spaces where certainty is absent. In a world that values speed and instant results, it is easy to forget that real connection takes time. You cannot force trust. You cannot rush emotional safety. Like a seed buried in the soil, love needs time to root before it can rise. If you pull on it too soon, you damage what you are trying to grow. Patience is not passive. It is an act of faith. It means allowing someone to unfold in front of you without pressure. It means resisting the urge to fix, push, or demand. It means sitting with discomfort, with not knowing, and still choosing to stay. The Stoics valued patience not as weakness, but as strength under control. When you are patient in love, you create space for depth. You let conversations breathe. You let feelings evolve. You make room for healing. This does not mean waiting forever for someone who never shows up. It means honoring the pace at which real love moves. It means understanding that some of the strongest relationships are not born from intensity, but from quiet consistency. The ones who stay not because they were rushed, but because they were given room to be. Patience helps you stay present instead of projecting. It keeps you from turning your relationship into a race. It reminds you that love is a journey, not a finish line. And in this journey, timing matters. When you embrace patience, you invite love to grow in its most natural, lasting form. Integrity is the foundation of trust. Without integrity, love becomes unstable. Promises are broken, words lose meaning, and what should feel safe begins to feel uncertain. Integrity is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. It is about doing what you say you will do, especially when no one is watching. In relationships, integrity builds the foundation of trust. It is the quiet strength that holds everything together when emotions rise and situations get hard. When your actions align with your values, your partner feels secure. They know where you stand. They trust that you will not betray them in silence or in secret. Stoicism teaches that character is revealed not in moments of ease, but in moments of challenge. Integrity means showing up with honesty even when it is inconvenient. It means being true to your word even when it costs you something. It means speaking truth without cruelty and loving without manipulation. Integrity does not seek to win. It seeks to do what is right. In love, this becomes your compass. It keeps you steady when doubts arise. It helps you choose clarity over confusion, openness over avoidance. When both partners live with integrity, trust is no longer questioned. Respect flows naturally. Conflict may still come, but it is faced with maturity. Love thrives when it is rooted in truth, and truth only survives when nurtured by integrity. If you want lasting connection, start by being someone who is true to your partner, to your values, and most of all to yourself. That truth becomes the light by which love finds its way even in the dark. Learn to love yourself fully. Before you can offer love that is whole and lasting, you must first learn to love yourself, not in a superficial way, but with depth and honesty. Self-love is not arrogance. It is not pride. It is the quiet acceptance of who you are, including your flaws, your wounds, and your growth. When you lack self-love, you begin to seek validation from others. You measure your worth by their attention. You depend on their approval to feel safe, but this creates a fragile foundation. The moment they pull away, your sense of self begins to collapse. Stoicism teaches that your peace should never depend on anything outside of you. That includes another person's affection. When you love yourself, you no longer chase. You no longer beg to be chosen. You no longer shrink to fit someone else's comfort. Instead, you show up fully. You set boundaries without guilt. You speak your truth without fear. You give love not from emptiness, but from overflow. Loving yourself means knowing you are worthy even when you are alone. It means trusting that your value is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. The more you return to yourself, the more your relationships shift. You stop trying to earn love and start sharing it. You stop grasping and start receiving. Love becomes healthier, softer, more real. When two people who love themselves come together, they do not complete each other. They complement each other, not out of need, but out of wholeness. And that kind of love is not only rare, it is unbreakable. Let go of the past to move forward lightly. The past is heavy. It clings to your shoulders, whispers in your mind, and holds your heart hostage. Old pain, broken trust, words that wounded you deeply. You carry them, not because you want to, but because you don't know how to put them down. Yet Stoicism teaches that the only moment you truly own is the present. The past is unchangeable. No amount of regret or replaying it in your mind will rewrite what has already happened. What you can control is how you respond now. Letting go is not forgetting. It is not pretending you were never hurt. It is choosing not to relive that pain every day. It is the decision to stop giving your power to what no longer exists. You deserve peace. You deserve freedom from the chains of what can no longer be undone. When you release the past, you reclaim your energy. You begin to feel lighter, clearer, more focused. The people who hurt you do not get to live in your thoughts rent-free. The mistakes you made do not define your future. Letting go is not weakness. It is strength. The strength to walk forward even when you are still healing. The courage to open your heart without dragging old stories into new beginnings. Each time you let go, you make space for something better. You stop reacting to memories and start responding to the present. That is how you begin again. That is how you return to yourself. Not stuck in what was, but fully alive in what is. Embrace change as a natural part of love. Change is not the enemy of love. It is part of its nature. People grow. Emotions shift. Circumstances evolve. What felt certain one day may feel distant the next. But this does not mean love has failed. It means it is alive. To expect a relationship to remain unchanged is to deny the truth of life itself. The Stoics taught that everything is in motion, and our peace comes not from resisting change, but from accepting it with grace. In love, this means allowing space for growth, both yours and your partner's. It means understanding that seasons come and go and that not every change is a threat. Some are invitations to grow deeper. Change may bring discomfort. It may challenge your patterns, but it also reveals what is real. It strips away illusions and shows whether your connection can adapt. Love that survives change becomes stronger, more resilient. But it can only survive if you stop clinging to what was and start engaging with what is. Let go of the need for things to stay the same. Welcome the unknown with curiosity rather than fear. Learn to see change not as the end, but as the continuation of the journey. When you accept change, you remain flexible. When you remain flexible, you remain open. And when you remain open, love has space to breathe, to evolve, to last. This is not the loss of love. It is the evolution of it. And in that evolution, something even more meaningful can emerge. Master your emotions. Choose response over reaction. Emotions are powerful. They rise without warning and can overwhelm reason in an instant. Anger, jealousy, fear, insecurity. They arrive like waves crashing against the shore of your peace. If you are not prepared, they will sweep you away. But emotions are not enemies. They are signals. Stoicism does not teach suppression. It teaches observation. The goal is not to feel nothing, but to feel wisely. When you react instantly, you give your power away. You become a puppet to impulse. But when you pause, breathe, and observe, you create space. And in that space, you reclaim your freedom. That space is where transformation happens. It is where you shift from automatic reaction to intentional response. Mastering your emotions is not pretending you are unaffected. It is acknowledging what you feel without being controlled by it. It is letting the storm pass through you without becoming the storm. When you choose response over reaction, you act from clarity, not confusion. From strength, not fear. From wisdom, not ego. Imagine an argument with someone you love. A reaction might mean shouting, defending, blaming. A response, however, means listening, reflecting, choosing your words with care. That choice changes everything. It de-escalates conflict, preserves connection, and shows emotional maturity. Mastery comes from daily practice. Journaling, silence, breathwork, reflection. These are tools the Stoics embrace to return to themselves before responding to the world. The more you train this habit, the more peace you carry. You stop fearing emotions and start understanding them. And when you understand them, you are no longer ruled by them. This is how you become steady in chaos. Not cold, but calm. Not numb, but conscious. The person who can sit with their feelings without being consumed by them is the one who holds true power. And from that power, every word, every action becomes a choice, not a reflex. Think clearly. Decide firmly. Keep your soul light. In love and in life, clarity is a gift. Yet so often we are clouded by emotion, pulled in different directions by fear, desire, doubt. Decisions become difficult. We second-guess ourselves. We hesitate, overthink, and stay stuck in cycles that drain our energy. But Stoicism teaches the power of reason, to step back, to observe, to sort what is in your control from what is not. When your thinking is clear, your choices become stronger. You stop chasing comfort and start seeking truth. You stop reacting to pressure and begin acting from principle. Clarity does not mean having all the answers. It means knowing which questions matter. It means slowing down enough to hear your own wisdom before the noise of others drowns it out. In relationships, clear thinking helps you recognize what is healthy and what is harmful. It helps you choose partners who reflect your values, not just your cravings. And when the time comes to walk away, it gives you the courage to do so without guilt. Firm decisions come from a clear mind, but they also come from a steady heart. Stoicism is not cold. It is centered. It does not reject emotion, but refuses to be ruled by it. It invites you to feel deeply, but to decide wisely. And once you decide, let that decision bring peace. Carrying confusion leads to exhaustion. Carrying clarity leads to freedom. When your thoughts are aligned with your values, your actions follow naturally. And when your actions follow your truth, your soul becomes lighter. You no longer carry the burden of trying to be everything to everyone. You simply become someone real, someone rooted, someone free. That is how you protect your peace. That is how you stay strong. Love is not a destination, but a continuous journey back to yourself. Along the way, you will stumble, you will doubt, you will hurt. But if you hold on to integrity, patience, and awareness, you will learn to love without losing your inner freedom. It is not the kind of love that makes you dependent, but the kind that helps you grow. In the midst of change, choose peace. In the midst of emotion, choose self-understanding. And through it all, choose to love with strength, clarity, and deep freedom.